Let's begin with the troubling news of the looming strike by organized labor over the vexed issue of petrol subsidy removal. Despite appeal by Nigerians, especially organized private sector, the NLC and the Trade Union Congress, TUC, said workers will embark on an indefinite strike from the 3rd of October. The union said they have mobilized state councils and affiliates for the indefinite strike, urging Nigerians to expect total compliance nationwide. Jide, there's fire on the mountain. We saw this coming. The federal government, they had the opportunity to nip this in the bud, and meetings were held, negotiations and everything, but it's as if both parties did not put the desired efforts to get to where we are today. So Labour calling out Nigerians on strike, I think it's part of their statutory duty, the responsibility they are just carrying out.
No, it is their responsibility to fight for the welfare of workers. It's not necessarily their right to send us on
Indefinite
strike. But Labour, in fighting for the welfare of workers, has not done anything wrong. No doubt about it. We may have criticized them in the past, especially Ajero, for his caustic rhetorics and all that, but everybody can see that he has stopped that. The kind of words he used in those days,
it's no longer.
He has taken correction.
Raise the alarm on the journalist standard here.
He has taken correction, and is no longer talking with fighting words, because previous labor leaders disagreed with government, they negotiated with government, but they were not known for combative words. They were not known for such rhetorics, and I can confirm that he has adjusted, because if it was before, all of the threats to go on strike would have been followed with some rhetorics that are not dignifying. But you can disagree with people without resorting to name-calling, without insulting them, because when you are given a position of responsibility, you must also show a high sense of responsibility. So on that score, the kind of rhetoric that he was using in those days, we can all see that he has stopped, except if one just wants to criticize him for the sake of criticism. He has stopped using those words, but he has not been able to get firm guarantees from government that we are going to do this in respect of a new minimum wage, because a new minimum wage has been due for some time. Even before President Buhari left office, a new minimum wage was due. That is what the law says. The law has not been amended.
5 years.
Every 5 years, you must do a new minimum wage. You must. So now, because of the depreciation of the economy, it's been tough to live up to that stipulation in the Constitution. But the times are difficult for Nigerians.
More difficult.
The removal of subsidies has made life more unbearable for our people. When the NBS came up the other day to say 130 million Nigerians are multidimensionally poor, that was before subsidy removal. Now, with subsidy removal, you can be sure that a lot more than the 130 million that they talked about will have sunk further.
Multidimensional poverty.
Yes, into multidimensional poverty, or whatever grammar we can use to qualify. Poverty is poverty.
This one is multidimensional.
Yes.
Yoruba will say onírúurú.
Onírúurú, àìrówóná, onírúurú.
Multidimensional.
Onírúurú òṣì. You know, the people use the word Oshi much more than they should use it. Because it's something, it's bigger. The real meaning, the literal meaning of it is bigger than people flippantly use it. So Nigerians are a lot poorer, and they need some relief. And they are looking forward to the NLC to help bring about that relief. What I do not see happening is an outright resumption of the subsidy era. Because I see them demanding now that the subsidy removal should be
jettisoned.
They should be jettisoned. I don't think that it makes sense at this stage to say we go back. But government has to come up with clear interventionist measures. Those interventionist measures are slow in coming, and that is what riles these fellows. We have to admit it. They need to, government has to come up with timelines. This is what we want to do. You can expect that at so time you will see this, at so time this will happen on an incremental basis. And I've said before, there should be someone who will even be addressing, if this is a project, government takes this as a project. After that speech by the president, there should have been a committee, something like a wartime general addressing the people that this is what we are doing. We are going to come out of this. We only need your patience, your support, your solidarity, your patriotism. Somebody needs to be addressing Nigerians on what the government is doing to reduce the pain.
Yes.
My dad was asking that palliatives, what's happening? What?
If you remember, Mr. President came out, Mr. President in national broadcast, reeled out what the federal government would be doing.
Yes, they need to be
that
talking
update,
to people.
giving
That,
us
okay,
what is happening.
I made this promise, this is what we are doing, this is what we do. So
promise grains.
The vehicles that are coming,
natural gas, yes.
We said we will import vehicles, you know, that will be compressed natural gas fired, that will help people with their commuting and all that.
Where are we there?
Where are we? When are we expected to receive the first batch of vehicles? How many are there? This is the way it should be done. When Nigerians are hearing this, that is renewed hope. The renewed hope that you are talking about. You are giving them hope. This is
2,000
this one will
ordered.
The first set will come.
Yeah.
Maybe the first set is 60 will come. And 3 weeks after that, we will receive another batch that will help cushion the effect of the high cost of transportation. People need to see what you are doing.
Yes.
The steps that you are taking. You may not be able to do everything at once, but there has to be a sense that yes, something is going on.
Moving. Something is in place.
That will make people happy. They will be relaxed. They will calm down because they know that you are not resting on your laurels. You are prepared to do something to address the problem. That is what we are not seeing. That is what we are not seeing. And that is what government has to do.
As we go, Nigerians are tired of successive governments, you know, maybe the spokesperson will come out and just throw one lumber, they're laughed, and, before you know it, a lot of people will not see that, oh, this thing has failed to materialize, just because the communication is not enough. The president came out and he gave us a robust analysis of how he's going to combat this situation. And we don't get updates, as Julia said. So right now, implementation, we don't know the condition. So if NLC is threatening to go on indefinite strike, it's because of the hopelessness.
Yeah, Ayo, the thing is, the presidency, the media team, I think what they've gone on sleep, or they've gone to sleep, because if you look at what the NLC, the position that before they came up with this indefinite strike.
With TUC,
Yes.
NLC with
yeah.
TUC now.
Before they came up with it, you would look at all the things that they have said. The president actually came up with the presidential steering committee to look into this. 8 weeks. He gave them 8 weeks for them to come up with something concrete. Throughout that 8 weeks, what happened? They never sat for them to decide on how they will implement those things that the president reeled out. Because it is when you meet, you'll be able to say, okay, fine. The president says we are going to give you 11,000 CNG buses. Okay, who is going to handle it? How is it going to be done? What time will those buses be ready? You know, no meeting. The palliatives that we heard that, okay, they were given to people, was the NLC even involved in it? For them to even monitor these palliatives, to know that, okay, fine, it's going to the right people. Or whether it's going to the poor or it's going to the public workers. And what other palliatives were already on ground, or are they going to bring out? Nothing. You know, so every time when NLC says they want to go on strike, that is when the federal government will now look for a delegation, and then they will sit down and then they will discuss. They will just drink tea. They will pass tea, like Ajero used to say. He said they will give them tea, they will drink, and then they will leave. No, it's not about that. It's about giving them things. No, they can drink tea in their office. It's something concrete so that they will go back and tell the workers, this is what we have discussed, and then we have seen sincerity in the side of the federal government.
Don't forget our discussion last time. What we talked about, even if we are going to be on the road to this minimum wage, that there will be a tripartite committee led by the federal government, the private sector, and all the stakeholders. By now, they would have been sitting, agreeing to disagree.
Because the first time, you know why I'm disappointed about this? The president was even the first to talk about the need for a new minimum wage before Labour began to talk about it. Just after
inaugural speech.
After he was sworn. No, it wasn't an inaugural speech. It was his first meeting with governors. When governors visited him, he said, by now there is a need for a living wage. He talked about it. It was after that FEC met, and we had people like the governor of Bauchi State even reeling out what they are going to do in some interventionist measures. The governor of Bauchi spoke, the governor of Abia spoke. They were breaking these things down. Their preliminary meeting with the vice president, they talked about, okay, the measures that they can take to cushion the effects of subsidy removal. The buses that will run on CNG were mentioned. The increase in the wages of public servants was mentioned. It was even the Bauchi governor that talked about, I still remember, we played it here. Now the question is, since that time, what has changed? Was that the last time that those governors sat and discussed this matter? Because if you discuss the matter as early as June, by now, approaching the end of September, we should have seen concrete steps.
Exactly.
Movements.
Yes. And then those meetings will have Labour represented. Labour will say, okay, because to arrive at a minimum wage is a difficult journey.
Exactly.
It's a long journey.
But if they got it to like 85% of arriving at the minimum wage, nobody will call an indefinite.
Exactly.
Even, you see, the minimum wage, to decide it may take even longer than that time and now. But once you've begun
The
to
negotiation.
talk, the conversations have begun. Everybody will know that, okay,
The governors will look at their pockets.
You know how long it took the President Buhari to
arrive at the 30,000.
It was a long time. It was a long time. You start analyzing bit by bit. Even senior, everybody is affected. So it's a lot of money.
Even the private sector
too
will
on
be
level
involved
17
too.
also benefits from minimum wage increase.
Exactly.
Because of what we call consequential increment. The moment you increase the wages of level 1 to level 6, They will eventually catch up with their bosses if you don't also add something. That's how they will add this to everyone.
Sequential adjustment.
Yes.
By percentage, that's how they will add it to everyone until you get to level 17. Everybody gets something. That's why it's the capital demands for minimum wage is tremendous. And that's why those meetings last long, because you will negotiate. Labor will say, okay, for level 7 to level 10, it is 30% that you add to our money. You start arguing. You know, your government is okay, it's 20% that we can afford, or 10%.
And the governors will even be part. So look,
so
states
let the conversation even begin.
Start.
so that we can be debating it here.
When Lalong sits with Labour, that's why you should be telling them that, okay, we are going to have a meeting. I'm inviting you. Just have this meeting where the machinery will be set in motion for a new minimum wage. When Labour hears about that, that is their own constituency, their own primary constituency is affected. There is no way Ajero would not believe that something is being done when you started with his constituency. That's the minimum wage, because it's important to them.
Yes.
As we speak, some states cannot even pay the 30,000 minimum wage. They've not implemented it, despite the fact that as we speak, what now goes to some states from the distributable revenue from the center has gone up. Yet I know states in this country that still can't pay the 30,000 minimum wage. And inflation has quadrupled.
Exactly.
It's not tripled, quadrupled since the removal of minimum, of subsidy. So something has to be done. This is the thing. We are journalists. We are not politicians. We get to listen to people that politicians do not even have access to. People can't walk up to politicians and tell them
The truth.
The truth.
They will see us. When we are walking along the street, they will say, "Eba soften one now."
Exactly.
Yeah, equal.
Exactly.
You know, things like that.
And it's what we can feel.
Yes, exactly.
See, if, you
No,
know,
they will even come and approach you because they are seeing.
they believe that you have access.
Exactly.
Which access? You know?
That you have their ears.
And they believe that I can just walk up to anybody,
Any
any of the ministers. How many of the ministers do I even talk to? How many? So, and you know this thing, in my area, before the governor that they call Lele, before he did some palliative on the road in my area, it got to a point that they were beginning to threaten me. I'm telling you, I'll be coming to work, they will say, Ojú ẹ̀ ò fọ́ o, orí pọ́ náà ò dá o, ó sọ̀rọ̀ ń gbà, ó dáa, wàá rí.
You are passing through the zero road.
Yes.
Are you not feeling what we are feeling?
So you are pretending that you
are not seeing
the
bad road.
It's bad. You are not doing a program about it. Meanwhile, we will call community forum, go and do story. They will do story. Nothing happens. They think that we all feel the pain. If the road in my area is bad, I feel it, just like the other road users. If Gary, a paint
Of Gary.
a bucket of Gary is now about 1,000 naira. That's the same market that
Of course, it's the same.
I got a revelation this weekend.
same
I
guy.
asked somebody to go and buy turkey, and they said a kilo is now 4,700.
For a kilo.
1 kilo.
You need to be wealthy before you buy turkey now.
Why do you want to eat?
With this your size.
Why do you need to eat turkey?
You don't.
You don't need to eat turkey.
No, you don't need it. No, but what?
Give turkey to Janjala people now. Yeah.
No, but Ayo, to be candid, I think the federal government, I don't know if they will have to have another meeting again. Nigerians can't afford another strike.
So even the private sector have been warning.
Yes.
They are struggling.
Because everybody is struggling.
We really
You know,
decisively.
we are all struggling, and another strike means that Nigerians will sit down at home, and then the people who even have business outside to do will not be able to
worsen
you know.
the
So
economy.
the federal government has to sit down and then look for how they can, put timelines.
There's still time between now and
3rd of October.
Yes,
So,
we've seen.
yeah,
we've seen,
of course.
Sunday is October 1st. Monday is 2nd. That's
So I think the meeting should be putting timelines on whatever they are doing, what the demands. Oh, minimum wage. By so time, we'll start discussion.
Natural gas. We were told that they will build those stations.
Yeah.
Where people can charge.
So how many have they built? They need to let people
can
know.
Convert their
cars to exactly.
We saw some displays. We saw the governor of Ogun State even riding a bike.
So since then, what has happened? Nothing.
So we want the action now. We want action. So if Nigerians, if we can get where we can change our engines, normal engine to the CNG
at a very good rate.
But now it's even 400,000.
Further exploit Nigeria.
It's 400,000 to convert from petrol to CNG. It's for them to convert. Yes.
In this economy.
Yes, exactly.
You want to buy
The government has to.
So, but government, that is where government will come in and say, okay, if they have more places that they can convert, the price will go down, and people can go there and do that. Even the buses, the public buses, if the public buses are run on CNG, they will bring down their price.
Of course.
So that is where...
So we are hearing that they will bring in buses and supply transporters. But they need to communicate.
Exactly.
When this thing is coming. That's how to calm frayed nerves. It's not to have a good plan and simply keep it to yourself. For me now, look at when the minister, the coordinating minister of the economy, Olawale Edun, when he explained what is going on with the naira, dollar to naira, this exchange rate, I became convinced that they have backlog of like $8.6 billion
dollars
to clear. So, because as I was reading, BDCs were complaining that even the I&E window that CBN didn't supply enough dollars to the market, that official market. It means that they are keeping some of it to pay those that they are owing.
Yeah, the debts.
And those guys, if you don't clear those outstanding, people will not come and do business.
Exactly.
They won't.
All right.